Hi, everyone. This is Jacqui Cooper with JCooperTravels, and I want to welcome everyone to this episode and ask that you like and subscribe because there are many, many guests on today, as well as in the future coming on that you're going to want to listen and enjoy their messages and what they do. So for those of you that are new to JCooperTravels, I want to say thank you, but also I want to share a little bit more about my journey so you know why I created JCooperTravels and you can enjoy the path that I've been on and then learn a little bit more about the direction that we're heading. I actually have not had a traditional career, and for many that might feel a little bit nerve-wracking or odd. I've kind of realized early on that it was hard for me to do a traditional 9 to 5. My background's law, and I always find different projects that I'm able to do to provide service to others. But I haven't stayed in the law area, even though I'm still active as a lawyer. And for those of you that know one of my side businesses, I do consult in the area of wills and estate planning. But I love to travel. And so I actually became a certified travel consultant because I wanted to go around the world. And a friend said, why are you traveling retail when you can travel wholesale? And I was taking major trips, from China to Africa to Europe. And doing the certified travel consultant allowed me to both help others travel as well as to be able to travel a little bit less expensive. And so I started JCooperTravels because I was loving everything I was seeing and the people I was meeting. And everyone I met was inspiring me to kind of reach out and kind of stretch my own ideas and boundaries. And as a result, I'm doing a lot, but it's with a lot of support from people. And today I have two people on that are also inspirations. They have had a diverse background and career path, and they're going to share their backgrounds with everyone. And I'll mention this for those of you that are new to the podcast and the talk show side. If you are listening and you don't have a paper and pen, don't worry. We're going to repeat their contact information throughout our talk, but it will also be embedded within. So you can come back to this episode and then you can reach out directly to them. So I want to welcome both of you here today. How are you doing?
We're doing great. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So I'm going to let both of you introduce yourselves as well as the company. And then we're going to have, a little bit of a chat about how it all got started.
Sure. Thank you. Wow. And what a fascinating story you have with your travels, with law. And I love it. I love your background and the diversity of it. Very similar to you. I was born in Iran, actually, and immigrated to the US at the age of 7. So I started my path outside of the country and, really fell in love with the field of aging right away. We had a community. My dad, I guess he didn't know that he moved us into a 50+ community. I don't know if it was legal for the 7-year-old to come there. And quickly I befriended all the older people in my community and fell in love with all of them and the process of aging and, all their stories and their adventures and their travels and so on and so forth. But by the time I was in 5th, 6th grade, all my friends started to slowly pass away. And that's where I was like, I'm going to dedicate my life to understanding and demystifying the field of aging because I don't want to lose any more friends. And that's where it really started and kind of led me through this journey of my background is biology, psychology, and then I went on to study biochemistry. So I could understand, the body holistically, inside out, mind, body, the connection between the two. And afterwards, I went into the field of aging for many, many years. I was there. And from there, I took some time off and, thought about if I could do that next thing, that thing that would like bring all of my passions, and it would be the culmination of my love for the beauty industry, my travels, my experiences, all of that. What would it be? So I took almost 6 to 8 months off in hopes of, I sold my home healthcare business and I was also involved in an e-commerce business with my husband, left that and went on a 6 to 8 month journey to find out what is that thing that I'm passionate about. And I started in Asia. Um, as luck would have it, I tried to conceive for 8 years, couldn't have a baby, but I ended up conceiving during that trip. Um, and that it was wonderful. It was on the island of Phuket, where I found out, and that's a story of its own. But I kind of realized, what is it I want, and bringing all the components together, educating on the field of aging, because by the time I would get our patients, they would be, very well into old age. And why are we educating them at 89 about healthy living and healthy aging? That starts in your 20s and 30s. So bring that educational aspect. I'm sorry. Speaking of travel, there's a train.
That's okay. That's okay.
And the field of aging, and kind of disrupting an industry that hasn't been disrupted in a very long time. So what we offer is personalized skincare and supplement products. And we're actually also incorporating a telehealth, we're incorporating telehealth and telederm services. So offering prescription grade skincare as well. But not just that, like, that's great. The product, that's the Trojan horse. What at the heart and center of Qyral is this ability to help and impact as many lives as possible through entrepreneurship, through education, through leadership development, and so on. And I'll let Mark kind of get into it and introduce himself, because he's amazing.
No, I appreciate your giving us a teaser as to what this is all about. So this is really important. All right, Mark, why don't you go ahead and to kind of extend it?
Sure. So I'm Mark. I am the Vice President of Sales and Leadership Development here at Qyral. And so when Hanieh talks about her passion, and you can see her excitement about what she's doing, I will share with you all, that's what I fell in love with. And so I'm a new employee here at Qyral, but again, believing in Hanieh and her mission is really what brought me here. The key to it all for me is relationships. And so since we've all shared our unconventional journey in our careers, I'll share mine. So I'm a former first grade teacher. I taught first grade for 5 years. I went to work at a children's museum, and then I went into retail, and I was even Macy's Mark. I was on TV at one point. But I'll share with you, through all of it, the thing that has been the constant is relationships and building relationships. And so Hanieh talks about personalized social selling. There's nothing more personal, and there's nothing more important in social selling than building relationships. And so again, when I get to do that, which is truly something I love, my grandfather always said, find something you love and you'll never work. I don't work. Right. I get to build relationships every single day. And then you marry that up with the fact that I believe in Hanieh's mission. I believe in the niche that she has in personalized, skincare and personalized wellness. That to me really was just magic, because I got to combine both passions. And so here we are today. And just to talk about social selling just a little bit more, it really is exactly what it is that it sounds like. And I love it when there are words like that. It's social and it's selling, but really at the end of the day, it's building relationships and being problem solvers for people who have issues with their skin. And so our consultants get to help people with some pretty personal things, right? Your face, your skin. And then in the meantime, they get to have a living and get to make a living with, as they say, no glass ceilings, right? It's really unlimited, their potential. And I've shared this before. I shared it this morning when Hanieh and I did another video. I love that Hanieh decided to do that, because she didn't have to. She could have kept all this to herself. It's a really great product. And again, you see her excitement and her passion, but in her heart of hearts, and I call it a servant's heart, she really did want to share it with people. And that's the part that I love. And again, she could have kept it all to herself, right? And kept it retail and that sort of thing, but she's allowing other men and women to benefit from her really great product. And so I'm just happy to be a little spoke on the big wheel, but I'm super excited. So.
Well, what I love about what both of you are saying is, talking about both the service and product and also entrepreneurship. I mean, one of the things that I realized early on, I had my income taken away from me because I had one stream of income because of a client situation. And I realized, and I'm a single mom, so I realized at that point, I never wanted to have just one single source of income. I always needed to have multiple sources. And the only way to do that was to have your own business. So, whether you call it a side project, whatever you want to call it, I think it's always important for everyone to think about what do they feel comfortable with and what kind of side project can they do to both support their passion as well as create alternative income. And just from a tax perspective, you have a lot of tax write-offs that you can, if you're an entrepreneur, that you don't have if you're simply, a W-2 person. So I think that what you're saying is really important. How did the name come out? The name is very unusual. A little bit more about that.
Sure. That's actually a really good question. So I mentioned my background is biochemistry and chirality and chemistry and mathematics. It's molecular mirror image or a mirror image, right? Think of your left hand and your right hand. And what's really interesting in chemistry and in the body in particular, even though that molecule is molecularly the same, right? Made up of the same number of hydrogen atoms and structurally it's the same, it behaves completely different in the body. And I was like, oh my God, that's homage to us humans. We're all the same, but we're also different. And then also the entire mirror image as being a reflection, us reflecting on life and ourselves and the paths that we're going and the people that we cross along the way. So that's what chirality means. Special.
That's wonderful.
A little nerd.
Yeah,
a little nerdy, but hey.
my background at college, I had a multidisciplinary major of science, technology, and society. So I definitely like how everything can kind of be interwoven and then used and applied. So for sure. So how many different products do you have?
Currently, our line involves 5 products. So the first one is, I wanted to base it all around the body's natural cellular turnover cycle. And that's just a fancy way of saying, this process where your skin rejuvenates. Yeah. And when we're younger, when we're born or, very, very young in our infant years, this process happens every 2 weeks. But by the time we're in our 50s and 60s or even 40s, it starts happening every 90 days. So what ends up happening is skin cells accumulate on the surface. They kind of get clogged in the pores and in the crevices that are there, and they kind of exacerbate those crevices, which lead to wrinkles. So really the key of getting younger, healthier skin, I mean, obviously supplementing it from the inside is very important. Sleep, hydration, all that good stuff. But from the outside, you have to exfoliate, and there's only a few effective exfoliants. Some are, laser treatments that you get in a dermatology office. Some are retinoids, and which I mentioned, we're getting into the telederm space. So that's prescription grade. And the other ones are acids, alpha hydroxy and beta hydroxy acids. But those are very, very finicky. And I mentioned, my background, like you really have to get that right. You have to get the pH right. You have to get the concentration right. So I was like, oh my God, I guess we're going to have to personalize. So that's where the whole personalization came in. We personalize the ingredients, we personalize the concentration specifically for your skin. We really want to get to know your skin. And then from there, the second step is a bioplacenta serum to help rebuild. Now that we've slewed off a layer, aka desquamate, we've desquamated, taken off a layer of skin. Now we have to help rebuild and heal and build it back up. So that's why we use a bioplacenta serum, and it has the same growth factors that are found in the placenta, but we've made it in a lab setting. And then followed is our moisturizer, again personalized for your skin with personalized ingredients to address your skin concerns. And finally, we have a supplement to help supplement and rebuild from the inside, because I mentioned that's very important. And finally, we came out with a line of because everyone was requesting it, sunscreen, and it's a sunscreen primer because I love cosmetics, so I needed a flawless skin under my cosmetics. So it's a primer and a sunscreen. That's our line. So 4 essential products, 5, but we're also now incorporating an entire line of telehealth telederm products. So that'll include hydroquinone if you have sunspots and age spots, and tretinoin and all these great things. And what's really, really nice and special, as Mark mentioned, is we get to share this. And I told you I had a business in the e-commerce world. What we saw was, Facebook would pick up, the algorithm would pick up your ad. So if your ad was performing well, all of a sudden your $2 ad went to $15 and $10. So as an entrepreneur, you really couldn't control your marketing spend. It was hard. It was difficult, right? And I was like, why are we giving these big corporations a chunk of the pie when it could go to people that really want to do this and take this on as a business? So now, in addition to that, we're also kind of sharing that piece of the pie with local pharmacies, compounding pharmacies and local doctors. And so I'm just really excited about sharing what we have with as many people as possible and allowing as many people as possible to join us on our mission. And yeah.
So you mentioned the product line, and you also mentioned the fact that people can get involved. What do their backgrounds have to be, and what kind of training are you able to provide to them? Because there might be someone that's listening or watching, and they might say, well, I have no clue about any of this, and it's going to be over my head. So are you looking for, you mentioned pharmacies, but are you looking for people that are kind of new to this, or who should be looking at this?
Anybody, really. Anyone who has a hustle and a grind. And it's funny because in my last business, it was a healthcare company, and I was under this assumption growing up that in America, if you work hard, you could get whatever you want, right? But I found that not to be true, because my caregivers, they busted their butts. They worked so hard, but a lot of them were capped at minimum wage, and if not a little bit more because of insurance reimbursements and so forth. So I was like, that was another piece of the pie. Like, in my next business, it's going to be whoever works hard can get in on this. So if you have a passion for entrepreneurship, and not the hobby of entrepreneur, like actually taking on a business, because we're taking that R&D headache off your plate. So all you got to do is focus on building a business, if that's what you want, connecting with people, and I'll allow Mark to elaborate on that. And also, we give you the tools of teaching you about entrepreneurship, and it's very systematic. And that's something that I found in this industry. The industry is called network marketing, and it gets a pretty bad rep for whatever reason. I find it to be a beautiful platform, and I don't come from this world. So I find it to be a platform to do a lot of good and have a lot of impact and educate. And, it's fabulous, but you got a couple bad players, and unfortunately it's gotten a really bad reputation. But what I found in this industry that was lacking was systematic, step-by-step, process-oriented, sequential steps to guide people, just like a turnkey McDonald's franchise. Day one, what do I do, right? So we've kind of, it took us a really long time and 3 separate training programs of building it and starting it from scratch. But if you come in from day one, if you have no experience, you don't even have to have a wide network. We'll teach you the skills and we'll guide you along. And that's also another reason Mark came along. Mark, maybe you could elaborate on the leadership development portion of it.
Before you talk, Mark, about that, I just want to mention I've done a lot of network marketing businesses, and I think it's a great way to do business. It frees up your time when you're building a team. It also provides you to be independent if you want to be independent. I think where the bad rap has come is that sometimes people don't take responsibility for the fact that the business doesn't work itself. You have to work the business. And so it's not that network marketing doesn't work. If you don't put the time and energy into it, then you're not going to get a return. And that's true with any business. But because network marketing, I think, touches more people, there are more people that have to be honest with themselves about the fact that they might not be putting in the effort that they need. But the training that you talk about is critical, because there are a lot of people who have never been exposed to how to do a small business. And I'm also a teacher, and you can't start a kindergartner off in calculus. You got to lay the foundation. And then once you have the foundation, then the math equations make sense. And so, Mark, why don't you go ahead and share a little bit more about how the business kind of helps everyone within this model?
Well, I firmly believe that network marketing really is the great equalizer. It really does allow those with a college degree, those without a college degree, those with GEDs, anybody who wants to have a business really can have a business within network marketing. I boil it down to sort of the will versus the skill, right? The will is the desire to do what it takes to have the type of business you want, right? You got to have will, you got to have that fire in your belly, or it's skill. And I'll share with you, and I'm sure Hanieh will agree with me, I will take will over skill any day, especially at Qyral, only because the training is really good. And I've even used the phrase world class, right? So I have direct selling experience. I've seen other training, but Qyral's really is step-by-step systematic. And that's not a sell, that's exactly what it is, right? And so you don't have to have the skill when you come to Qyral, but what you do have to have is desire, right? You have to have the will. And as long as you have the will, we're going to give you the skill. And I always tell people that you are in business for yourself, but you're not by yourself. And I've seen that literally from day one at Qyral. And again, it's not a sell. It's just that's the difference, right? Hanieh and Darius are there. Now I'm there. And so you have this great triangle of support. And so it's just, but again, it really does boil down to the fact that anybody can do this, right? Now, the more hungry you are, right? The hustle and the grind that Hanieh mentions, the more of that you have, the more success that you will have within our model. And so it's just, but I love it. It's if you can build relationship with people and if you can connect with people and you can find out what it is that their need is, what their desire is, and you can meet it for them, that's literally it. That's what network marketing is. And the best part is it's social selling, right? We are doing more and more on social. And we aren't having parties in people's homes and things like that. And so this opportunity allows you to really capitalize on the fact that I can have customers all over the place. I can be in Ohio and I can have people that I'm helping in Palo Alto where it's super sunny, in California where Hanieh is. And so that's the part that I love.
Yeah, no, I think that this is an opportunity that people should look at. So in terms of going back to the training, how do you learn how to customize the products to the individual? Because that sounds pretty technical to me. So how are you able to help people?
Sure. Actually, it is very technical. It's an AI machine that learns and grows and adapts with you. That's why it took 3 years to put together. It was not an easy feat. It took a lot of time, to put all the pieces together and make sure that the supply chain was scalable, because that's also important. You can do it for 10 people, but can you do it for 100,000, 1 million, 2 million? So, we have a quiz that you take. It's just the right number of questions for us to learn about your skin and be able to personalize. So we ask questions about your sensitivity, your burn rate, how easily you burn, and all these different questions that we need in order to personalize, and your goals. What are your skincare goals? And now that we're incorporating the telehealth piece, we're going to ask a couple more questions about your healthcare background. But yeah, it gives us enough of the data to put together a personalized regimen for you. And if you're not happy, again, sorry about the train.
That's
I said it
okay.
a perfect. We have a reformulation guarantee. So if it for whatever reason it's not working for your skin, maybe we didn't get it right, we're gladly going to reformulate until we do get it right. And also another mention on what Mark was talking about and yourself, another great part of this business is that there's no inventory because it's personalized. There's no inventory to buy. And there's no requirement for you to purchase the product. I mean, you should try it, but that's it. That's pretty much it. So where else can you start a business? I mean, you've been in business before. Where
Yeah.
else can you start a business for $99 in America, right? Like it's, to think about all the time and effort and energy I had to put in to start this thing, like for somebody else to come in and get personalized products for that much, it's pretty awesome.
So why don't you go ahead? I don't know that we've actually officially mentioned your website. How do people reach you?
Sure. It's www.Q as in Queen, Y-R as in Robert, AL.com, Qyral.com.
So it's just like the name, everyone.
Yeah, and for a limited time, we're also, we just announced it today. We're gonna move the decimal over. So instead of $99.99 to start your business, it's gonna be $9.99. So if anybody is interested, and for listeners that catch this maybe after the month of June, we'll still honor, but just use the coupon code, move the decimal. And if not, you can email us at care@Qyral.com and we'll definitely honor that.
And all of that, all those websites and emails will be in the blog below. So if you don't have paper and pen, that's fine. You can always come back to this episode. So on JCooperTravels, I usually like to have like a one tip, one place. So do you guys want to talk about the places that you think people might want to kind of hop over and explore? Or do you want to talk about the tip first? What would you like to talk about?
We could do both.
All right.
We could do.
Well,
we could do.
right.
Well, I think as far as place, I mentioned Phuoc.
Yeah.
Phuoc, however you pronounce it, but it's just such a beautiful place, and it's developing. In general, Vietnam is such a fabulous place. The energy is alive. It's like people compare it to Beijing and China 15, 20 years ago. And I hear Cambodia is beautiful, but I just love the energy of Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam. There's so much happening. There's so much development, and manufacturing's moving there, and people are excited. I mean, the energy is pretty exciting. So that's my one place recommendation. Mark, how about you?
You know what? I was like, oh, let me think of someplace exotic. You know what? I'm going to keep it close to home.
Okay.
And Hanieh knows this. I literally brag about the town in which I live in all the time. There's a reason to live here, and there's a reason people search all over.
So what's the name of the town?
Granville, Granville. And it really is a hallmark town. People search for a place where they can, in the winter, see the horse-drawn carriages and all the lights and carolers and all those sort of things. I literally live in a hallmark town, and it's absolutely amazing. We have white picket fences everywhere, and it really is just dreamy. So you can go there to Vietnam, and then you can come back here to Granville, Ohio, and get some frozen custard and some chestnuts roasting by an open fire, literally open fires on the sidewalk. And so that's where I think you should come.
That's great. I'll put both of those on my bucket list to go and see. I know for me, one of my bucket list places to go and see is Dubai, and I'm actually going at the end of June. So I have some friends there, and they keep saying, come on over. And so I'm really excited. I know everyone says you're crazy to go in that month because it'll be hot, but again, you can't always pick when you go. So I'm going to go and I'll enjoy it no matter what the weather.
Oh yeah, Dubai's exciting.
From the top of the buildings all the way across the city. Yeah.
So what's about the tips? Well, now that we talked about the place, what tip would you like everyone to kind of take away?
My favorite quote is sometimes you have to slow down to speed up.
Yeah.
And in the middle of all the craziness, and we're all hustling and bustling, and sometimes slowing down does the body and the mind good. And believe it or not, when you take that time to reflect and sit alone with yourself, you'll go even faster. So it's not all about the hustle and the grind. And, we talk about that all the time, but sometimes you do have to slow down. And I struggle with that. So I have to remind myself, sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. So that's a note to myself today.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I know that I remember during the COVID time period watching on Facebook the singers, singing from one balcony to the other, and everyone coming out, and the community that was formed. But because of the fact that we were forced to pause, people thought of other ways to connect. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done that. And, that was just a remarkable way to show that we can still connect, and we can kind of slow down, like you said. And now that we're kind of back to the faster pace, I think people are kind of remembering and hopefully taking those lessons. Mark, what about you? What's the lesson or takeaway that you'd like to share?
Well, so I am one of those people who likes to control what I can control. There's things that other people that do to you or around you or whatever, but I like to control what I can control. And so one of my favorite phrases is, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. Because the person who controls that statement is me. So whether I believe I can or I can't, I am right. And I believe I can. So,
Yeah, I agree with you on that too, because so many of the things that I've dived into, the cannot hasn't been in my vocabulary. It's yes, let me do it. And then sometimes I think, okay, what did I get myself into? But
that's Hanieh Sigari, just so you know, that's Hanieh Sigari. She leads from the front, let me tell you. And so, yeah, she absolutely believes we all can. So
Yeah, I think I definitely believe we all can, and we're all inspiring others to do the same. So I think that, everyone who's listening, you can definitely do a lot, whether it's staying still and meditating or whether it's going out and starting a business. Go ahead and mention one more time your website so people can know how to reach you.
it is www.Qyral.com.
Okay, that's great. So everyone, remember, like and subscribe to JCooperTravels. Also, as I always say at the end, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We're all connected. We're all part of one world. Thank you so much for being on today, guys. I can't wait to hear more about your successes and your travels. And I look forward to talking with you. Thank you so much.
Aw,
Thank you,
thank
everybody.
you. Thank you for having us. Thank you.